Well, hello there, World Wide Web people, and welcome to the very first, even though this may not be the very first episode we run, of the little video podcast that we like to call, what are we calling it?
Funny
Funny, Funny Blue Pizza.
pizza.
I'm Kevin. What? Pizza.
Yeah.
I'm Kevin Kolbe.
See, I'm Christopher Sean Shaw, and I think I should say funny. You say blue, and I say pizza.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to
Funny
Blue
Pizza.
I like it. I think this will actually take the nation by storm. So seriously, I said this is the first episode. This is our first recording. Who knows when this actually hits the airwaves, right? But this
By
is a
storm.
video podcast that we're going to put on YouTube. It's also going to be available wherever you listen to podcasts. Well, that's not true because you may listen to podcasts in your bedroom, and it won't be there. So it's really more like Apple and those places.
Yeah.
So Christopher,
Yes.
can you believe we're here?
Yes. After many talks, or I should say long talks. We didn't have that many talks, but they were long.
No.
Our last talk was 2 hours.
Yeah. Let's create something. Okay. And that was it.
Yeah.
But you know what? And this is probably a great topic for another podcast, but
or for this one.
I just sometimes, people just, I'm guilty of this, overthinking to the point that you don't start anything.
Yeah.
Don't you find that's true a lot?
Yeah, definitely. That combined with procrastination, like, oh, that's a great idea. I'll write that down later, or I'll shoot that later. And if you don't write it down and have a plan, it's highly likely it's not going to happen.
One of my favorite snarky tweets was somebody on Twitter asked a question about, do you struggle with procrastination? And I responded, let me think about it, get back to you.
Yes.
So this video podcast is still being, I think, formulated as we create, which kind of feeds into probably what it's going to be about, is about creating. Christopher and I come from different worlds. We have a lot of similarities, except for the Spider-Man movies, but we come from similar backgrounds. So why don't you tell them a little bit about who you are and your background?
Oh, my story starts in the womb. Do we have time?
It was very, very dark.
And then in first grade, no. Oh, wow. The full frame. Look at that.
Don't mess it up. Okay. I'm back over here if you need me.
Okay. So, hi, I'm Christopher. Hi.
Okay. It's not a dating site. Okay.
No. Taken.
Okay.
Happily taken.
Okay. I'm going back behind.
Okay. Kevin, where'd you go?
Right here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. Have we run that into the ground enough?
I think we have. No, but seriously, tell the folks watching just a little bit about you.
So I grew up in Ohio. I'm now in Northern California, but I grew up in Ohio, and I was always fascinated with films and acting. And so when I was younger, I wanted to be a quote unquote movie star. So I actually went to college. Shout out to Otterbein College, which is now Otterbein University. But when I went there in the 90s, it was Otterbein College. And I was a theater performance major. And when I first moved from Ohio to Southern California, I pursued acting, albeit lackadaisically. But I did, I get in these little inspirational spurts, and I would submit this is back in the day when you had actual hard copy photos and resumes, and you actually put them in like these big things called envelopes. You slid them in there, and then you got these things called stamps that you put on the envelopes, and then you went to this thing called a mailbox. Am I dating myself yet? You go to this mailbox and you put it in there, and then it takes a
And then
day or
and
so.
just like today, it never shows up.
So I would get in these spurts and I would submit headshots and resumes, and I did a little bit of acting. And one thing I got involved in um, not long after I was in SoCal was background acting or extra work, or people call it atmosphere, background acting, extra. Um, there's more names for it that are escaping me right now, but basically, it's the people in the scene who don't have lines.
Hmm.
And sometimes you even get featured, and I was featured several times on different things and other things. It's like if you don't blink, you might see me. But that started to feel like it was becoming like a dead end gig. Um, it was a lot of, I mean, if you're not familiar with what it's like on set, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. And when you're in the background, it's even more so. It's like hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. And there were a couple times where like I was either barely or not even used on camera, but I
Really?
was still there all day. Like the movie The Net with Sandra Bullock. I was there at least one day, and I was there for like 11 and a half hours, and they brought me to set once, didn't shoot anything. For some reason we went back to holding's where they hold the extras. And yeah, I wrapped that day, and they never used me on camera once.
And you thought,
I,
hey, this is the perfect job.
you still get paid, and you meet a lot of really
Oh,
interesting
that's right.
characters, and if you're not meeting interesting characters, then you might be the interesting character.
There you go.
But yeah, it's kind of a crazy world doing background acting. But I just saw, I got featured here and there. I even got upgraded to a principal role in the Toyota Tacoma truck commercial once, which is actually on YouTube. If you look up Toyota Tacoma truck family reunion, you might be able to find it. But
Oh, I think we're looking at that in a future episode for sure.
oh yeah, there you go. What was cool about that was I was booked on a 3-day gig as an extra, and on the first day, I ended up getting upgraded to a principal simply because of where I was placed in the shot.
Wow.
And they knew they were going to do more stuff. So I
Mhm.
actually ended up getting lines and the whole bit. And which was really cool. And I mean I got residuals and stuff like that. So that was really nice. But but yeah, it was I forget where I was going with that story. I was going somewhere.
I don't know.
But I realized, even though those kinds of things happened every once in a blue moon, um,
Or a blue pizza.
or a blue pizza.
We're just not used to the name yet, folks. We gotta
Yeah.
work on it.
Yeah, we're still figuring it out. And you're here with us, figuring it out with us.
That's
So
right.
there you go. So every once in a blue pizza, um, something really cool might happen on set, like getting upgraded or something. And I met a lot of really fun people and great people that some of which I wish I was still in touch with, but Facebook
Yeah.
wasn't a thing in the late 90s.
You had
Or it
MySpace.
I never really got into MySpace,
Well,
actually.
neither did
I
anybody
don't
else.
think I ever got a MySpace account or anything. I didn't quite get it, I guess, you know?
Well, evidently you're speaking for the whole world because otherwise he'd still be around.
But anyway, um, but over the years, I found my heart changing, and my desires and passions changing. And I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and I believe the Lord was changing my heart and my perspective. And I found myself, I mean, even back in college, I found myself really enjoying being behind the camera, setting up
Mm.
shots and thinking of really creative, fun things.
Mhm.
And I remember thinking in college, man, I wish I could be in front of the camera and behind the camera at the exact same time. But only God can play the omnipresent card, so
All right.
that didn't quite work. But so anyway, I just found myself more and more enjoying being behind the camera, and it was in the It was 2008. I did my very first of many 168 film projects. I want to give a big shout out to 168film.com. It started out as a speed filmmaking competition where you have 7 days, 168 hours to shoot, edit, turn in a finished short film after about a 10 or 11-day writing period, and then immediately into the production week. Great experience. And back to what we said before, it forces you to complete that idea. So the way the 168 works, it's a faith-based organization, and I'm not getting paid to say this or anything. It was very monumental in helping me get to where I am
That's
in my
cool.
career now. And but anyway, the idea is there's a theme for the year, and then each team that competes gets a Bible verse somehow related to that theme. So the very first year I did it, the theme was free the captives. And so I got a Bible verse that had something to do with, freeing the captives. Sometimes it's really obviously related, and other times it seems like a big stretch.
Yeah.
Because, you might have a lot of teams or you might not have them. It just depends. But each team has a verse, and sometimes, depending on how many teams there are, the verses would overlap, and more than one team would have the same verse. But typically, each team has a different verse related to the overall theme, and then you do this short. And for years and years and years, I'm a filmmaker, and for years, my director reel consisted of 168 short films. For years. There's still one 168 short film clip in my recently uploaded director reel for 2022, but the other couple projects in there were actually bigger in scale than a short film, so that's really cool. So anyway, that's I just told you, like, we might as well go back to the womb, because that was a really long.
That was a lot.
You should have broken it up into questions, like.
You were on a roll, bro.
I was on a roll. Anyway,
So
there you go.
I think it's interesting that, and we'll save my background for another time. But, I think.
But what if inquiring minds want to know?
Well, okay. Then my short story is that, I started in radio, was in radio for several years, and then got into television. And so most of my career was in what's also referred to as traditional media, which typically means television, radio, before really internet started coming on, before Al Gore created it. People just, they had to talk to people. And so, I was in television for a long, long time. And a few years ago, the position was cut because broadcast is like a lot of businesses where they just shrink. And I just decided, or actually, I guess God kind of decided for me, just kind of start my own business. So I do like video producing, video coaching now, and things like that. So my background has been more in radio and TV, traditional to digital media. And then your background has been more in acting and movies and Hollywood. And
correct.
I think you and I connected through a mutual friend, John Finch. Yeah, John Finch, who has a phenomenal ministry and YouTube channel called The Father Effect. I would strongly invite you to check that out.
Definitely.
And
Powerful
I think he was
story.
like, dude, you got to meet this guy. Christopher, he's great. He's a movie guy. I think you're gonna love him. And if you ever met John, that was pretty close.
And he basically said the same, like, I really want to introduce you to, like, I really think you and Kevin Kolbe would really like, yeah.
So I think what happened is, we exchanged emails, and you were doing a Facebook show at the time, and you had me on, which was really cool. And we just kind of clicked.
The Sean Shaw Show.
Yes. And I think we kind of thought, it'd always be kind of fun to work together and do something. And, one of the things, we are being straight up honest with that. This show may evolve. Heck, it may evolve from week to week. But, with our two backgrounds being similar but different, we want to be able to share stories and experience and ideas about getting started in whether it's digital media, the movie industry, YouTube, or whatever it is, but at the same time, have a lot of fun too. And I think that's the beauty with this. So, it kind of goes back to one of the things we talked about at the beginning about people. I think that a lot of people want to do things, they just don't start. It's well, what if nobody watches, and what if it doesn't make money and stuff like that. And so Christopher and I have had a couple of meetings. I mean, we haven't, you know, we haven't done the route of like, well, let's do the spreadsheets and put together the focus groups, and then let's just really just suck all the life out of this idea we've got, because and then it's like,
Because
let's
that'll make
start
you
it.
want to hit
That
play.
would, yeah. Let's start it, and let's see where it goes, and let's commit to doing this multi months, which is another thing I think people do, and I've done it. You try it 2 or 3 times, you go, it's not working, and you're done.
Yeah.
And I think the plan is to keep this fairly simple. What simple? I guess I hit puberty, and hang on,
Whew.
I think
Wow.
I lost a little gray. Um, but I think it's to keep it simple, meaning that, we'll be on YouTube and it's available as a podcast as well. But we also want to have guests on here. I mean, people that we know that maybe you might not know, but can add a whole nother layer of flavor. I
Yeah.
made that up. I
So
don't
let
know
me
what
just
that
throw
means.
in here in the comments, who would you like to see us have on the show?
Yeah.
And also in the comments, if you have any questions
Yes.
around radio
Yep.
or TV or independent
Yeah.
filmmaking, how
Digital
to get
media.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
digital media.
Yeah.
Kevin is a YouTube guru, YouTube
I don't know about
questions.
that.
Well, I think you're a YouTube
Well, I
guru.
appreciate that.
But
I
but
am.
please
I am.
comment below.
Well, I'm big on social media. I mean, I'm not big person. I'm big on people being on social media, whether you have a business or a personal brand or nonprofit or something like that. And my gut is we'll be talking to a lot more individual people, creators, maybe entrepreneurs or maybe starting filmmakers or something like that. And again, we want to have a lot of fun, because we both love entertainment, we both love to laugh. And one of the things is, and I think we could probably dive into this in another episode, but how in the world we came up with the name Funny Blue Pizza.
Funny.
Oh, sorry.
Funny
Blue. Dang it. Yeah, I'm
pizza.
gonna work on that. So
Yeah,
if
I
we
was
do,
going to say, what does funny blue pizza
yeah,
have to do with anything that we're talking about right
if we do merch, yours will say Funny Pizza, mine will just say Blue.
now? There you go.
They'll go, he doesn't look like Joe from Blue's Clues at all. I don't get it. So one of the things that we talked about, we started kind of working on a document of, and this is about as buttoned up as it got, but we started, like, what are the things we want to talk about, and how would we want to do it, and what platforms? Like, we're using StreamYard right now to record this, and eventually we'll probably do a lot of live to video, live to tape.
Shout out to StreamYard.com.
One of my
Yay!
one of my favorite live streaming tools, and you
I
use
did
it
the
too.
Sean Shaw Show on
Yep.
StreamYard.
Yep. But then we got to, like, what do we call it? And we had a bunch of cool titles, and then we would check it, and somebody like this one title, I don't remember which one it was. It was like, oh, that's it. That's it.
To
We can
be
go
named
home
later,
now.
wasn't it?
Huh?
Wasn't it to be named later? Was it that one?
Maybe. Yeah, it was like, and somebody has a blog that they, have 2 articles on, and they haven't posted in, like, 5 years. And I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And the about didn't even match the author. And it's like, whatever. So,
Yeah.
so we just kind of kept trying to come up with
So
something.
literally after like 90 minutes
Oh yeah.
of
Yeah.
and of course we go on rabbit trails here and there,
Oh
but
yeah.
for the most part, 90 minutes, we're circling back to what are we
Yep.
going to call this, throwing out ideas. I'm looking at like what are some common film terms, and
Yes.
I made it to like the C's. There was a whole bunch of them, A to Z. I made it to the C's, and he's throwing out things, and I'm throwing out things. And we're looking them up, and they're taken or whatever. And it's like, and then he just goes, you know what? Let's do this. What's your favorite food? I
Yeah,
go,
it's funny, and
pizza.
that's exactly how we did it because, I mean, I think honestly, we could have gone too far down the insider name, where it would have been like, rough cut on backlot. And if you're not really, and then there were a couple we had that, wouldn't have made, I mean, well, like our title makes any sense, but they would have taken it to such an
You were about to
extreme.
say we could have had a title that doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah,
Well, like
yeah.
our title makes sense.
Well, one of the titles we were kicking around was called Dead Cat,
Yeah,
and a lot of people may not think
and
they
it
know
was
what that
available
is
too.
or
So
celebrate it,
I don't know.
and
Do we want to buy that one now just in case? So they don't like
possibly, yeah,
rush the
yeah, Yeah,
interwebs and
yeah. We'll own that by the time this hits the air. But Dead Cat is I don't have one handy. Dead Cat is the name of what you put on a microphone when typically you go outside to kind of make it help with the noise and stuff like that. And
and
it
it
just got
helps
the name of
protect it from the
Yep,
wind hitting the
yep.
mic. So
It's got the name of Dead
it's
Cat.
the big
Yep,
fluffy thing that you
yep.
put around it. It's called a dead cat,
And we
or
thought,
that's one of the
ooh,
names for it.
that kind of sounds fun. And I
And
it's like
neither of us are really cat people, so that
no,
was a bonus.
no, I'm a dog guy. But
Yeah.
it's like it
Hey,
didn't work.
speaking of which, look who makes an
Oh,
appearance.
look at that.
Woo, 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 woo. This is Nugget.
Now you can say the show has gone to the dogs. Thank you.
All
Well,
right, buddy.
but
Thank you.
but what I think is funny is, and I don't even, it was just all of a sudden it was just like, well, let's just, what if we just called it because names can mean whatever you make them mean. Like one of my favorite podcasts is Mike Rose, The Way I Heard It. Well, that means something now because people have heard of it. But there's other things like I mentioned that to you, the site Bored Panda.
Mhm.
What does that mean? Mental Floss, and those are two very popular sites, well, entertainment based. So yeah, just out of the blue, I was like, okay, let's just do something so different. And I was like, "What's your favorite food?" He said, "Pizza."
Pizza.
Happens to be mine. I said, "What's your favorite color?" He said,
Blue.
"Blue." Mine's red. That was okay. And then I said, "What's your favorite movie?" And you said,
No, I said I don't really have a favorite movie.
and I said, "Well, what kind of movie do you like? What
What's your favorite
genre?"
genre? Yeah. I
And
said
he said,
comedy.
"Yeah, comedy." And so I wrote down funny. And then we kept playing this, and all like coffee, tea, and this,
Yeah.
and I kept looking at it, and I said, "Well, what if we just called it?" And it was literally written backwards, "Funny Blue Pizza." And you laughed, and I laughed, and there was that pause of, "I think that's it."
Yeah. But then we still went on and threw around some more, and I was
Yeah,
still
that's true.
looking at
Yeah,
the list
yeah,
of movie terms and
yeah,
but I'm like, but Funny Blue Pizza, and we kept coming back to
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
there you
Um,
have it. That is how this podcast is
yeah.
called, Funny Blue Pizza.
Because you also want something that I think can be memorable. And, a lot of the other titles we came up with, had they been available, they'd have been fine, but they'd have just been fine.
But they weren't
And
Funny Blue Pizza.
yeah, well, and then we would go to GoDaddy to make sure we can buy the domain. And it's like, if somebody has this domain, we're just done. It's not meant to be. God's like, do something else. And then so we own it. I mean, we haven't directed it to anything yet. It'll probably end up going to either the YouTube channel or that. So that's how we came up with it. Funny. No, hang on. I'm sorry. So the name of our show is
Funny
Blue.
Pizza.
There we go. We're going to work on that. We'll have some big, like, major opening, um, but I do hope this is a podcast that encourages people, inspires people, teaches people something, they can learn something, but that if you're watching this, that you really feel like, you're just kind of hanging with the guys and you can ask questions. And so the podcast will be available through Anchor. Anchor is the platform we're going to use. And one of the cool things with Anchor is you can leave voice messages. So we have the ability to play that back if somebody leaves a message or a question or something like that. So,
And the other cool thing about that platform being called Anchor,
oh,
my production company is Anchor Productions.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that. See, mine is called Kevin Kolbe Media because I wanted to go with something I had a shot at remembering. I'm already struggling with the title of our show, so, I had 2 of the 3 words. It's like, if I forget those, I'm done. But so we do plan on doing this on a regular basis. And we're gonna be looking for sponsors and for opportunities. I mean, we really hope this grows to a point where people like you are, you look forward to it, you learn from it, you enjoy it, you share it, you subscribe to it. So hopefully you will become a big fan of
Funny
Blue.
pizza.
Yeah, we got to work on that.
And maybe you'll hire us too.
To say that. To say 3 words, 3-word titles awkwardly.
No,
Which is
for
our
our
other name.
expertises.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
expertise?
Yeah.
Expertise?
Expertise. I think that's the plural.
Expertise.
So, but I think this will wrap it up for episode 1 or episode whenever we air it, whatever the number it
Well,
might.
I'm doing the one,
You're
so
doing the ones.
it's got to be one.
Well, now
I mean, like,
if I'm keeping count, we're up to like, I think that was episode 8. You kept doing that. So nobody said math would be involved.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. And till next time,
I'm Christopher John Shaw, and in the comments below, you can ask the question, what is that thing on his head and why?
That's true. We definitely need to dive into that.
Yeah.
He looks like a longshoreman, doesn't he?
I'm not trying to imitate Tim Pool. Promise.
I'm Kevin Kolbe. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and let's do this next time.